Hello, guys, and welcome to the Real Football Talk Show. I'm your host Hassan. Here with me today, I have Adil and Rashid. Welcome, both of you guys. Today, we'll be discussing about Leicester City versus the Liverpool game. Very interesting game, to be honest. Firstly, I wanted to ask Rashid, what was your view of the first half?
First half, I think Liverpool had the game under control. They had obviously majority of the possession and everything. Obviously, Vardy had a few brilliant chances to, go ahead. But I thought Liverpool had in control. Liverpool were away. Leicester is a hard place to go to, especially after everything's been happening. I thought they done well, but went to the break and they couldn't take the lead. So yeah.
Sure. Adil, Vardy had three chances to score that half. What's your take on what was happening in the game?
Well, first half for me, the most surprising bit of the first half was actually the chances Salah missed or the opportunities, because when Liverpool have struggled and previous times, you need that arrogant, that one player who carries that confidence and carries the team and just helps ride a team away from the bad form they're in. And Salah has been that man for many seasons. A lot of times he scores the crucial first goal, or he plays with that arrogance, that confidence that lifts everyone.
I think that's the problem.
And I certainly agree. It can also be a problem in terms of over-reliance on a player. But what surprised me was he actually didn't look confident. In all of those chances, he looked confused. And one thing you know about Salah is you can see he knows what he wants to do when he's on goal, and whether it goes in or not, there's clarity of what he's trying to do. And in all three of those chances today, it seemed like there was no clarity. He took, first one was clean through, and then he took a touch on his right foot so heavy and the opportunity went. Second one, he played across half-heartedly with his right foot. Third one, I was thinking, we've just seen Salah recently do a dink with his right foot, and again he done the same thing. And that was surprising. Was this the first time I've seen Salah look not confident, clean through a goal, and that was the thing that surprised me the most. In terms of Vardy's chances, again, it was much like the whole game, a half in which Liverpool dominated, ends up being a tennis match, where there's gaps and the long balls, and Liverpool just did not recognize the threat in those last 10 minutes of the first half, and that, for me, that was the warning signs for the second half. And ultimately, we know the scoreline, so we know. But actually, the second half was a complete replication of the first half, but with goals in it, with the players taking their chances. That was the difference, really. So first half was very similar.
Interesting point. So the pattern of play was there for Leicester to just kind of like sit in and then counter the space that Liverpool kind of leave behind because of the two fullbacks pushing forward. So my question is, what really changed? I mean, you kind of touched on it. Obviously, they were a bit more clinical, but surely there's more to it that kind of changed that led to the actual chances being created.
I don't know whether you agree, Rashid, but what I actually thought was when Leicester counter-attacked, they were attacking down in the first half, down with Barnes, and they were trying to exploit the mistake that City did. So you could tell every time Barnes got the ball, he was at pace, just dribbling at Trent, and Trent was winning the ball every time. And there was a conscious effort, and you could tell tactically they were very aware that, all right, maybe Leicester's gonna try and test us here, because Gini Wijnaldum was sprinting across every time in that first 35 minutes to be also a second body in there, double up on Harvey Barnes. And it seemed like that was the focus of Leicester's counter-attack, was everything down the left. nothing was happening from.
Yeah. You got to
Bradford.
remember, Trent is more like a winger. Any defender. So we had Kabak starting up today. We even said before the game, any defender that plays for Liverpool, especially on the right side of defense, he's covering two-man job. Because Trent is hardly there, and when he's rushing back, he's obviously tired and everything. So any player that plays there, even the Harvey Barnes goal, the third goal they scored, he was down that side. He's on his own. Kabak trying to cover him. Again, Man City was the same thing when was it Man City when Reece Williams went across and Fabinho came into the middle. It's that side. We're playing with a proper winger. Trent, I would not call him a right back. That's for sure. That's for sure.
But I actually think the problems of these goals that Liverpool are conceding isn't actually the problem of the central defenders or the changes in central. I actually think what's causing these goals is the changes that's been made in midfield, because Thiago just does not support and recognize that the counter attacks the way Henderson used to do on that side. And nor does Jones the way Gini Wijnaldum used to do. And then on top of that, to make it worse, Gini Wijnaldum is not good enough at recognizing and cutting out passes into the front players. So if you look at those two chances at the end of the first half, they were just straight long balls. And it had a lot of resemblance to the City game where we spoke about how Foden had more hunger, more intensity than the defenders to win those long balls and cause problems.
Everything you said is 100% right. You got to remember the problem now is because coming back to what Trent being more of a right winger than a defender. Henderson, Wijnaldum, when they're playing out wide on that side, they usually cover him. They usually do. Because the team has changed so much. You had Joe Gomez's paces to make up for that. Obviously, Van Dijk would have made a massive difference just to the whole defense in terms of communication and everything. Now, this Liverpool defense, I believe, is the 22nd or 23rd different partnership this year. That's for me alone is ridiculous, and for them to even be in a top 4 shout, that tells me I think they're doing well. Obviously, they're going through such a bad run now. They went through a phenomenal run at the beginning of the season. Now they're just getting exposed. 23 different partnerships in defense
Rashid,
with
just,
a right-sided.
Just on that, I just wanted to ask, because you made a good point about the amount of changes. Do you think that's kind of impacting what's happening with Alisson? Is there a correlation there?
Yeah, 100%. Without a doubt, any keeper needs to trust his defenders. And if you've got different partnerships coming in every week, it's just not Alisson. Even the defenders, they don't know. You look at the second goal, for example. Kabak don't know Alisson's coming out. They haven't even played. I think they've had 2-3 training sessions together. Kabak came here, isolation and all that. So every change is going to make a massive difference. I don't think I've seen injury to this level. You got to remember. So Liverpool went in. Sorry, bro. Let me just put this point out. Liverpool went into the season. Klopp knew he needed a left back in case Robertson got injured. He had to sell. That's well documented. He had to sell. So he chose to sell Lovren and go with Fabinho as his fourth choice. All 4 of them are out. 3 of them out for the season. It's the injury list is ridiculous. I've not seen anything like this in my time of supporting Liverpool. So. No, yeah, that's made a big impact.
My question is, we all know it's well documented the struggles at centre back, and you're right. Any team will struggle with that. But is Klopp or are Liverpool making things worse by the constant changing of the midfield? Like, you can't do nothing about the centre back position, but are you compounding the problem by also constantly changing the midfield partnerships? Because 3 games ago, Gini Wijnaldum was playing well, was still playing on that left-hand side. Since his goal to CDM, it's become a joke. Just as a coach watching the games, I've just seen, even today,
yeah.
They're long balls, they're easy to read because Liverpool are doing a high press. It's easy. Fabinho cuts those balls out all day.
Yes, 100%. Fabinho is a massive loss in there. He used to cover that left and right defense as well. A lot of the time, used to move across, even though he used to play in front of, in between Gomez and Van Dijk. He was so intelligent. He'd move left and right depending on the gameplay. But yeah, the midfield, I think they try to change it to suit Thiago more than anything, and that hasn't worked. So he's dropped him last game or he's injured or something. So they started off without him. And
he started without him this game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Milner had to get injured, and obviously he had to bring him on.
I felt that had a big impact on today's game, because for the 13 minutes that Milner was on, you could hear and see he was visibly the most vocal player on the pitch. He was organizing, he was doing it visibly. He was organizing, shouting at everyone, making sure, and I thought that was one of the reasons why Liverpool started so strongly. And then he's gone, and it's we spoke about it in the last episode about Henderson's leadership qualities are not the same at centre back
100%
as when he's at central midfield.
Yeah.
So I felt Milner in that game. Milner was the most important guy not to get injured, because he was the only one really shouting and organising. So losing him actually was a bigger impact because of the current circumstances Liverpool are in than maybe we would all realise. Obviously, he's not the best player in the team, but at that moment, he was the only one leading.
Yeah, 100% sure. But you're right, 100% you're right. But there's many other aspects. You'll remember one thing. Yeah, with Liverpool, I've been saying this for a few years now. With Liverpool, you look at Mane, Salah. If they're the only two that can score goals. Even Leicester's got more goals coming. Like they got Harvey, Vardy, Maddison. They got goals from 3 players. We've got 2 players that can score goals. One's completely out of form. Mane is completely out of form. And then all the pressures on Salah. I know he's missed them. Normally he would put them away. But for a club like Liverpool to win the Champions League, the Premier League, and then not to sign creative midfielders or another striker at least. I know they got Jota, but Jota was more signed to cover Salah and Mane. They need a central player. Firmino, other than that skill, he didn't do anything. Now you're going to say, obviously,
do you think that's downfall to Liverpool's season? The fact that they haven't got a striker that kind of scores 20 goals, 15, 20 goals, really.
A striker to take, not even 20 goals, even if he's scoring 15 goals. Striker to just take the weight off Salah and Mane's shoulder. Liverpool, we won the league last year, carrying Firmino whole season. The guy got 1 goal in the whole league at home. And even then, that was at the end of the season. Now, that's down to Klopp. He's obviously loyal to Firmino. And for him to do that, I mean, it won't be the first manager to do that. Like you would look at Ferguson, he carried players like Cleverley. World-class managers can do that, and I think it's come to a stage where he can't carry him anymore. If we are relying every game on Salah, we're not going to win. He's not going to score every game 2 goals, 3 goals. If he scored today, he's not going to score every single game, and that's 100% sure.
And I think that's a very valid point. That it seems like from the reluctance to tackle the Firmino situation. And the thing is, Liverpool's a club where the players know what the fans are talking about. It's like the players are like fans. Everyone knows what's been said about and what's been said. It's one of those clubs where everyone lives and breathes football. You can't get away from it. It's everywhere you go. So then what happens is that affects players, because one thing is you're showing loyalty to a player, but what happens when the players stop believing in that player?
Yeah,
then what happens is, and what I think is happening with Liverpool right now is, because they're struggling, now they're starting to question Klopp's loyalty to Firmino. They're starting to now question whether he should be given that favoritism or be playing. And now it's affecting their own performance, because it's mentally become a reason for them to this is one of the reasons we're losing.
There's a myth going around that if Firmino plays well, then Mane and Salah play well, he does all the hard work. We've lost 20 points to the bottom 6 clubs. Do you need a defensive striker running around in left back, right back, centre back, or whatnot? I don't think you do. The other thing with the Firmino is, if you say the false 9, he's got to contribute to something. 2 goals in 42 games or something before the Palace game, or something ridiculous like that. These stats, that's not a false 9's stat. False 9 doesn't need to score 20, 30 goals, 40 goals a season. Okay. But at the very least in the Premier League, he should be scoring 12, 13, and then again 12, 13 assists as well. But there's false 9, then there's invisible 9. This guy's an invisible 9 at the moment. Last few seasons he has been. Since Coutinho's left, he's not been the same player. maybe they might want to push him from central midfield and get a striker out there.
I mean,
Proper
you have Origi on the bench, okay? Maybe why not give him a run? Or
yeah,
what's the point of having him in the squad? Why not sell him off? Because you guys do need money.
Yeah.
Sell him off, get as much money as you can, and maybe invest on a striker.
You are right, 100% right. Because with Origi, when he played him last year, he contributed to goals. The Champions League semi-final 2 years ago, if Firmino had played that, he got injured, luckily. If he had played in that, there was no way we would have won the Champions League. Origi got 2 goals. Origi, he plays him after 30 games. After 30 games, he'll start him off. He'll miss a sitter and everyone will be like, oh, he's not good enough for Liverpool. He probably isn't, but you can't judge a striker who plays once every 30 minutes, doesn't even come on as a sub. Today, did he come? I don't think he even came on today. No. So, yeah, he didn't. Shaqiri came on the 90th minute or 86th minute. There's no point of that. I don't think he trusts Origi. If he doesn't trust Origi, you are right, sell him by someone else. We've got 2 players we rely on goals from. Gini, Milner, Jones, name all the central midfielders. None of them are going to score assists, hardly. They're going to get 2 assists a season. You know what I'm saying? I understand they're working hard to cover the fullbacks, but the goals have got to come from somewhere else. If you're relying on 2 players, that is the underlying issue. And I said that even when they won the league. There's many games, it's just momentum got them through, quality of the defenders. People couldn't break us down. And, 2 years ago, defenders used to follow Firmino out. They stopped marking him. I watched the game. They don't mark him anymore. When he pulls in deep, they just let him go. They don't come out to create space for Salah or Mane.
Do you think there was a fear concept to Liverpool last year where teams were going, they knew like they'd probably have to score 3-4 goals to even have a chance? Do you think the fear factor is gone? And if that's the case, what's the solution? What's the solution to this whole downfall? What do you think are the problems they're facing? What is the solution? How do they get over this kind of like a rocky path?
I think obviously, getting players fit is any team will miss Van Dijk, and any team will miss a struggle with the amount of injuries and the constant. It's not the amount. It's been constant though. So if like some teams they have a clutch of injuries, but they're able to still settle on a partnership. With Liverpool, even when they're moving to Plan B, Plan C, those partnerships have had to get broken. So obviously, them getting settled team is but what's been highlighted is the fact that Liverpool aren't a team that can just say we'll score more than the opposition. Don't worry, forget our defense. They're just not because they play three midfielders who are set up for the counter pressing. It does not allow for creativity or for other people to get involved and get the goals. Now, if your biggest source of assists is down the width from your fullbacks, then you're always going to struggle for numbers in the box because you've got 3 midfielders waiting for the counter pressing. You've got then 1 false 9 striker dropping deep to try and create the space for the 2. So every time those crosses come in, there's only 2 options there. It's only Salah or Mane there. So I just feel like they haven't adapted to their situation well enough to understand, okay, this is a season where we're not going to be able to get goals through our gegenpressing simply because our defense isn't good enough to deal with these direct balls. And that's what it really comes down to is teams would play direct football against Liverpool because their pressing is so great. And their defenders would always get that ball and win that ball and read that ball. Now, because you've got your 3rd choice, 4th choice, 5th choice centre-back, they're not good enough at reading those long balls. You look at those 2 chances Vardy had in the end of the first, they were just long balls pinged in. Henderson couldn't read it and challenge it. Kabak went slipping on one of them. But when you look at it, they're just long balls. A competent defender tackles that, and then what happens? Liverpool back on the front foot. So I really do think it's not just. There's a lot of things that Liverpool have a system of play that, and their biggest assist is the gegenpress, is the pressure that they build. Now that isn't working because there's an easy out ball all the time now, and the centre backs just aren't good enough at dealing with the long balls, and that's why I feel like there's been an upturn in their performances when Nat Phillips has played, because he may not be the best defender, the most mobile or the quickest, but he's better than most of the others at reading and heading the ball. So when the press is right and the long balls are coming in, he's getting his head on that ball and recycling the ball.
Well, surely Klopp sees that then. I mean, Klopp being the great manager he sees that Phillips is actually covering those balls and covering those areas. And my other point is, with regards to the midfielders, why not stick with the way that he was working with Wijnaldum on the left of the three and maybe Thiago on the CDM? So why change that midfield three so much once you got unsettled back three? I mean, what's the solution to that?
Personally, I think Thiago's position has been changed because everyone recognized the tempo of the game was being slowed down so much by Thiago at the base of the midfield. So I think that's the reason why. I don't know, Rashid, obviously.
I think Thiago's he's had to rush in Thiago into the team earlier than he wanted. Obviously, he was injured. He came back and put him straight back. I don't even know if he doesn't look much fit to me. Today is one of the worst performances I've seen from him. He kept on losing the ball, and there was a moment where he tried to do his trademark turn, where he pretty much always works, but indeed he just held off. I think the pace of the Premier League is slightly different, obviously, to the German League. He is a world-class player for me. I think he will come good, but at the moment, he's just an easier scapegoat. There's so many players that are playing as bad or worse than him.
So do you think he's the easy target today?
He's the easy target. Second he came on, as soon as Milner got injured, he came on. First thing I said was, if Liverpool to lose, everyone's going to blame him, and that's what's happened. We lost because of mistakes, and I thought we were the better side. The problem with us is we had all the possession. It's the same every time. Even last year, even when we were winning games, it's a lot. We never hardly create clear chances. Like what Adil said, left side, right side, just crosses, long balls. We're not a route one long ball team. We are not route one, but route 2, route 3. So
more of a wing play.
A long ball. Yeah, wing play. It'll be a long ball eventually. But for that, as I said to you, if they can hold on to the Salman, I don't know how these Americans are. If they back him, if they get a Haaland or a target man, the crosses they put in, Trent puts in, Robertson puts in, any centre forward will score loads for Liverpool.
But I think there's more to it than just all of these things. Like for me, if you analyze the last game, you analyze the first half of this game, and that's where I would question Klopp on what he's saying, or maybe the players are executing. But it was clear the only threat that Leicester had was the long ball. Last game, that became the problem. This game, it was a problem in the first half. 3 long balls created 2 chances for Vardy, and then one of them was into Barnes across, which was a quick counter attack. But what I'm surprised is that adjustment just doesn't get made. If you look at all 3 goals Liverpool conceded, they were left 2 for 2 at the back. It's just 2-man defending, no midfield, no fullbacks.
Yeah,
you're 1-0 up. You've taken the lead. It makes it doesn't make sense to me that in the first half you again that you dominate in the first half, you end up conceding the 3 best chances because of long balls. You do nothing about it in half time. You take the lead and you still don't play with some safety in your play. You still play with, and the thing is, if we're all saying, oh yes, there's all these problems with the centre backs, so why not protect the centre backs more by having fullbacks tuck in and play a bit more defensive?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. That's what I think. With Trent is usually, a lot of the time Trent is further than Salah. He's overlapped Salah. So when they counter attack, it is whichever side they attack, especially Trent's side. It's Kabak covering two sides. They definitely should have protected him. 100%. They should have, especially it's his first game. They definitely should have protected him on that side. Be it put Milner at right back and maybe put Trent further on, or have instructions on Trent to not go gung ho. 100% defense should have been. The defense needs to be protected more because we don't have first choice, second choice, third choice, fourth choice. I think we're on the seventh or eighth choice at the moment. God knows. 22 centre back partnerships.
How much credit do you think the front three of Leicester deserve? Because I mean, we say in the space, obviously left back, but you still have to go in and actually deliver and score. They got 3 chances in the second. They went and scored. I mean, how much credit those 3 guys deserve?
I think a lot of credit has to be given to those front 2 because if I be honest, Leicester's start to that second half was poor as I've seen in a long while. The amount of balls they lost in their own half, and I felt the only reason why they didn't concede earlier was because of Ndidi and his kind of unheralded hero of this match, because one, he completely marked Firmino at the game, but not only that, he was winning the midfield battle. He was winning the midfield battle and then had the composure to get the ball out. But in that second half, the tempo in which Leicester was playing was so slow, and it was too relaxed. They were so relaxed, and I felt they were trying to set up the game exactly the way they set it up in the first half, which is try and retain a bit more possession because they had, I think, only 37% possession in the first half. So I think they tried tackling that situation by keeping the ball a bit more, but they were taking unnecessary risks and they were doing it so slow that Liverpool kept picking up them off, and you could tell the goal was coming any minute. Then they went to what they did in the first half, which is last 10, 15 minutes, let's go really direct. Liverpool are still going to think we're trying to play passing slow tempo football. They're going to still commit to pressing in our half, and the gaps are going to open up for Vardy, Barnes, and Maddison. Now, the reason why I rate the front 3 is because that must have been frustrating for them that second half. They weren't getting a pass. They weren't getting nothing, and it was just constant barrage of pressure. They did not lose their heads. When they went 1-0 down, they kept their mindset. They kept that mentality. When the opportunities came, they were ruthless in it. And they're winning fouls, winning free kicks. They're winning the initiative back straight after Liverpool took the lead. So the arrogance, the composure, the confidence that we're used to seeing from the Liverpool front 3, Leicester's front 3 had it. Even when the chips were down, they never lost it. When it got to them, they still made 1 fouls, they still made chances happen. They just had this arrogance and confidence that I was wowed by. I thought, wow, this is what you call players who, no matter what the circumstances, they're not getting outplayed. They're not getting a pass. They stayed in the game. They still had that belief. And that's what I was saying. That's what surprised me about Salah in that first half. He never had that arrogance that I think sometimes feeds the other players. Maddison right now is giving that to the rest of this Leicester team. You know, the arrogance to which he plays with, the confidence to which he plays with, the way he wins these fouls, you can see, and the leadership qualities as well. He's showing leadership qualities. You see his post-match excellent, really honest, truthful comments. Just love the confidence in which he's playing with, he's talking with, and I think that's feeding off of Barnes. Vardy, we already know, is quality striker. He's proven himself over the years, but highly impressed with the Leicester front 3. They didn't cave in. They never lost belief.
I mean,
yeah, they were superb.
One word answer from both I want from you guys, really. Do you think Leicester are title challengers?
No.
No?
Not a chance.
Are they?
City's won the league. Leicester are not winning the league. They're not winning the league.
I don't think Leicester have enough pieces to win the league. And I think it's obvious City, the fluidity in which they're playing, the confidence in which they're playing, the form they're in right now, they're going to be pretty hard to beat for any team, not just in Premiership, even in Europe. They're going to be a formidable opponent for anyone at the moment. But what I would say is it's a clear, you can see a clear progress from last season. Last season, in these situations, they would cave in. But they're not. And I really do think you have to give credit to Rodgers. He's still continued to develop a team, because they could have been down about losing out on the top four. And there's no, everyone in that squad would have been really excited about trying to getting into the top four last season. They lost out on the last day, and they've really built themselves up well. And they had a difficult start. I think they had quite a slow start first few games. So you can't have nothing but compliments, because you can see the progression of the team.
I mean, even
what you said about title challenges, bro. You're saying are they title challenges? I said no, but when I said no, I don't actually mean any disrespect to them. To be honest, if they make top four, that is superb. He'd have to Brendan Rodgers would have to go down as a nominee for Manager of the Year. For Leicester to get top four will be an amazing achievement. If at the moment even for Liverpool, even if we could get top four, it would be something to go on. I don't know how it's going to end, but for Leicester, indeed, Maddison's in the form of his life. Vardy, everyone knows. Barnes is looking good. They got bright future for sure.
Great points, guys. Some great tactical points that have come out of the whole game, really. Thank you both for your contributions. Really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you soon again. Thank you.
No worries, bro. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.